questions so that I can follow along. So there's a bunch of people already watching, active in the chat. And while we wait for people to join our Hangout, I'm going to go ahead and say hello to Nancy Graziano, James Haney, Guido Bibra, Phil Wicak, Graham Ash, Johnny Z. Thank you all for joining us for this surprise edition of Learning Space. We are coming to you on a different date because we have special guests from an entirely different time zone than normal. And so we wanted to build in some flexibility. I can see we have viewers. All of our tech seems to be working. I have confirmation that our stream is live from Guido. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing officially started, and I will be editing to this point. Hello, and welcome to Learning Space, episode 108. I'm Dr. Pamela Gay, and my co-host, as always, is Georgia Bracey.
Hello, everybody.
And we're coming to you from Southern Illinois in the Central Time Zone, where it's late afternoon on a gorgeous spring day. But our companions in this hangout are actually visiting us from 4:36 in the morning in Indonesia, where the sun has not even come up. And we are super excited to have them join us. And they're here to talk to us about the recent Indonesian solar eclipse. And we're hoping to learn as much as we can from them as we prepare for the 2017 eclipse, which will be visible to all of the United States in full or totality, and so we just are excited to have them. Our guests are Avivah Yamani, who is the director of 365 Days of Astronomy, which if you're not listening to, you're missing out. So go subscribe to 365 Days of Astronomy when you're done watching this episode. Also visiting, we have Fikry, and I'm just going to apologize because this is it's not perfect. And Wicak, who helped Avivah put together their programs down in Indonesia, and you had some of the most amazing photos I've seen. Just to start things off, I'm going to share a photo of the eclipse glasses that you all had, because these, we will not have eclipse glasses nearly this cool here in the United States.
But we need to get them. I haven't seen any of these pictures, so I'm excited. Oh, that's awesome. And, so you can get kids to make their, well, not to make their own lens part, obviously, but you could decorate. You could make yours fancy. That's awesome.
So now that I've shared these absolutely amazing eclipse glasses, let's start from the beginning and tell us about your experience. And you've been working on planning for this, Avivah, for the past 2 years. So can you walk us through what all you got to experience? What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Well, it started like in 2014. 2012. We start to think about where we want to go after the transit Venus. So we try to get several places, and then in 2014 we decided to go to North Maluku, and 2015 we did the survey. So start the planning in 2015 with Wicak, and it's like 1 year of busy day. And 2016 we go to we choose Maba. It's in North Maluku, at the eastern part of Indonesia. It's quite far away from here. I know for Pamela it's like 2 days trip to Indonesia. And in Maba, why we choose Maba? Because it has the longest duration for the totality. It's 3 minutes and 17 or 20 seconds. And then it's really since it's far away, and for us in Indonesia, astronomy is like the center of astronomy is like in Bandung and in Java Island. So not much people knows about astronomy as well. So we choose that area. Um, of course, the first one because the duration, and also it should be for the weather as well. And then for education part, since it's really far and the information, the access for information is not really good for astronomy there, so not much people knows about astronomy. So we choose that place to do our education and outreach as well. And
So,
it turned out so many people doing outreach there.
Wow.
so I'm going to go ahead and share a map of Indonesia just to help people get a sense. So where you're located is in Bandung, which is here on the main island of Java. So lower center of the screen. I'm hoping everyone can see my cursor. And you traveled across Java first up to Jakarta, and then how did you went all the way over here, didn't you? Am I on the correct
No, you should.
island? No. Am I missing part of Indonesia?
Yes, you should. I think, yeah.
Oh, there she goes.
Yes, that one. So
Okay.
we go to, from Jakarta we go to Ternate. It's 3 hours, 3 hours flight, and then we took the speedboat for 30 minutes to go to the main island of North Maluku, and then from there we're traveling 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours by car to our observation site.
So
Can you find it?
No, I'm completely failing. Yeah. Okay, so Jakarta I have.
Lost.
And then you flew east. Can you see my cursor, Avivah?
Yes.
Tell me where to go.
Yeah.
Still going east.
Go
Still going east. Is it way over here?
No. Go up.
Yeah.
There we go.
More up. Okay. Wait.
Up.
Oh my
More
gosh!
up.
I didn't even know that was still part of Indonesia. Yes. My bad. I'm
That's
American.
the area.
Okay, so you were way up here. So for people who need more context, so this is North Maluku up here?
Yep.
Okay, so for people who need more context, here is Indonesia, this is Java, this is the island that I pay homage to every single morning with my coffee. And Indonesia is one of the countries that is island after island after island, and clearly I misplaced some of those islands. It's located down below Malaysia, which is an island and a peninsula, just to be particularly confusing. And this is a part of the world that is stunningly beautiful and very difficult to travel around because it is so many different islands. And the eclipse path went right through all of these islands with people trying to figure out which little island they wanted to be on. So how did you guys pick that little island? You said it was because you knew you could do educational outreach there and it was an area that needed it, but what other factors went into your choice? Avivah?
Pardon?
What?
I lost your voice, Pamela.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I lost your voice. Wait.
Can you hear me yet?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, I can hear now.
So why all did you choose that particular island? I know you said that it was because you could do good education. What other factors went into it?
Uh-oh.
Oh, did we just lose her completely?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go over to you, Wicak. Can you answer that question?
Sure. I think the one of the biggest factors that why we chose Mabo is because of the easternmost position. and it afforded us the longest totality duration. Excuse me. We were really, really excited to experience an eclipse that was 3 minutes plus. So that would have been really, really cool for us. However, and I'll let Avivah, since she's back, to tell you
No.
what happened.
I still can't wait.
Can you hear us?
Am I missed something? Yeah, I hope I can hear you.
I
What did I
think
miss?
that we may have a weird time lag. So Wicak was explaining how you were hoping for 3 minutes of eclipse when you traveled all the way up. And I'm going to show the eclipse path. But you guys didn't quite get 3 beautiful minutes from what I understand. And this is the path of the eclipse. So people who were between the 2 blue lines in this image, you had to be between those 2 blue lines in order to see the eclipse. So Java, my favorite island, did not have totalities. They had to travel. So what was it actually like on the day of eclipse for you guys?
All right, who wants to take this?
You, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the day right before the eclipse was scorching hot. The sky was clear. Everything was just beautiful. It was the most perfect weather you could ever imagine. The very next day, it started out rather cloudy, and it was a bleak gray colored sky. And we thought, okay, this is just the morning dew, the morning fog. It'll clear up. It didn't clear up. It got darker and darker, and there was this cloud formation that seemed to just cover the sun wherever it went. And then, of course, it started to rain in between C1 and C2, and that was really fun. So we had to cover up all most of our scopes, all our equipment. We had to cover up with our plastic bags, and we started waiting and waiting and waiting, and then suddenly the sun came in and out and in and out. And then when after, I think it was it started to progress into C2, and then, at least from my point of view, our point of view, when it went into totality, there was just this big black cloud that just covered everything. So
Oh no!
Wow.
Well, so that was the anticlimax of the whole trip.
I think the photo I have up on my screen right now kind of captures that. The eclipse is lost in the cloud cover, and just some of the photos that you sent really capture the dark, dreary background clouds. And this one I think is my favorite because you have all of the clouds and all of the stages of the eclipse, where clearly the one that has the most clouds is totality.
Yes, this one was excuse me, was particularly a good representation of what happened during the eclipse. You can see the clouds. There are very little holes where we could really see the sun, and this montage really shows it. Our friend Fajar, who took this picture, went through a lot of post processing to get a clear image of each of the segments there. He didn't Photoshop the clouds away. He didn't put in a new sun in there, but he played with the I think it was the levels, right, Fikry? He played with the levels to get a very high contrast between the image of the sun and to downplay the clouds. So that's kind of how he got this image finally. But he did a really good job. He persevered through the rain. Not like the rest of us who broke out into umbrellas and rain gear and started running around with chickens with their heads cut off.
Now, totality had the potential to be 3 minutes where you were, but to get from first contact, was first contact at the bottom or the top of this image, do you know?
It was at the bottom.
Okay, so the sun is rising throughout the eclipse experience. So they started the day, sun lower in the sky, and as the moon passed in front of it, it was getting later and later in the day. And then you end up with the sun high in the sky here as it comes back out from behind the moon. And from first contact down here early in the day to last contact here at the end of the day, how many hours was that?
I think I want to say about, was it 3 or 2 or 4? It was one of those two. It's either 2 hours or 4 hours. Was it C1 and C2 is 2 hours? Fikry, do you remember?
Either way, it was hours and hours.
Yes, it was. It was hours and hours. It took a really long time. And it prolonged the agony of watching the clouds come in and out and in and out.
And from looking at your photos, you had a large group of people ranging from school kids of all ages to, it looks like, parents and neighborhood people. How did you keep them occupied for this entire experience?
Well, if I may tell the story again, we had 5 or 6 telescopes out, and we had the rather large pinhole camera that was on screen a few seconds ago. So people were just moving from one station to another, seeing what the difference was between each equipment. And we also had a solar scope from Toner. And so she had that. That was very interesting for people because it was non-metallic, non-glass, non-wood. It was basically cardboard, just like the pinhole, the pinhole apparatus. So, and it provided such a large picture of the sun when there was sun, which was really interesting for people. However, that was one of the first equipment that we ran into the classrooms once it started raining because it was made from cardboard.
So what I've seen in the pictures, and we're trying to figure out how to prepare for the solar eclipse that we're going to be dealing with here in 2017. You had eclipse glasses that you handed out. You had the pinhole camera. I'm seeing that you actually had a really amazing digital setup that must have been absolutely terrifying to have when the rain started. So here's your pinhole setup. Then you also had the digital camera that people could look at. What did people most enjoy? Was it looking for themselves? Was it looking through these different instruments? What did people end up spending their most time doing?
Most of them, I think. Okay.
Go ahead, Avivah.
From my point of view at the observation site, I think the most enjoyable for them is looking through the eclipse glasses, but they also go around Fikry for the television part, and the solar scope. The solar scope from Toner, it's I think people love that one, but they love to carry on their eclipse glasses and look up to the sky.
Those are the most
especially
amazing.
When the darkness comes.
That's great. What kind of questions did people have for you guys as you were showing them the various stages of the eclipse, what they could see, and maybe about what was going on around them? I don't know if the the normal things that you observe around in the environment were that easy to observe when it was that cloudy, but what did people notice? What did people ask you about as they were viewing this?
During the the totality, not much. We don't really receive much question at that time because I think each of us quite busy with all the equipment, and people are like they just watch the. They just look up to the sky and then they look for the sun, which is hide and seek with us, and the most one thing that I really remember from that time is they they are they were um, they enjoy the change from the day to the night, so from the light to the darkness. It's like they screaming around us like, okay, it's time for us to sleep or something like that. So
yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to see the children screaming like that, and also the I don't know how to say it. The animal. We can hear some sounds that it's like, yeah, it's the night. It's like we are having a short night, like something interesting because it's my first totality. So it's something. But for if you ask me what question, and we receive many questions during the education session. It's a day, 2 day prior the totality day. So we have we work with one of the school in Maba, and then we have it's like short seminar for the students, the high school students and teachers, and also we teach them how to build the pinhole, the pinhole. So when I was in charge with one of the telescope, and the teachers asked me, is it the most question I received during the education session was, is it safe to look to the sun? Is it safe to see the sun just like that? Or how we can protect our eyes, and how the eclipse happen? Why it's not? Why we don't have eclipse every month? Something like that. And why it's very special. And I think, or anybody, maybe Fikry and Wicak have another question that people ask. I don't know. But for me, most of the question is like something basic because they don't really. Okay. One thing, they asked me about how the eclipse happened. So they want me to just try to simulate everything for them, something like that.
Yeah.
It's not something. Oh, okay. One interesting thing. One of them asked me, "Is it was the eclipse is something like a curse from God, or is it something related to the poison?"
It's kind of amazing that we have all of these questions, no matter where you go in the world. As we're preparing for the 2017 eclipse, we're dealing with school teachers asking us, well, how do we keep the kids safe? Do we need to bring them indoors during totality? Because they think that since the solar corona can suddenly be seen, that all of the x-rays from it are somehow going to be more harmful. And there's a lot of weird misinformation out there that people have, and that question of why don't we have one every single month, and everything else. It's, as an astronomer, I feel like there's so much left to do to teach people just the basics of the Earth and the Moon and the Sun and our yearly motions. Did you have any little kids, and this is the thing that always I find hilarious, any little kids that were like, I know this, and I know this, and I know this, the little kids that are teaching the adults everything?
As far as I can remember, we don't have that one in North Maluku, but I did have many of them while I'm teaching here in Bandung. So yeah. But for the total eclipse, the total eclipse in March, we also we tried what we want to do at that time was we want to we want people to know that they actually can see the eclipse, and also they can watch the sun every day by using the regular and simple tools like pinhole. Aside than that, we also have Fikry built the, what is it? I don't know the name, but we try to show the people. I mean, we want to we want to connect we want to share the totality moment with the people using the screen, so they don't really need to go to each telescope. So at first we want to do it by using CCD or something, but then Fikry decided to build something. Maybe he can share that with us. Yeah, and we also have pinhole, and the pinhole is something that are very interested for the teachers, because for them it's like using I mean, it's something they can have around them. I mean, the material. So maybe if you can share something with us, I don't know.
Yeah, Fikry, would you want to tell us a little bit about what you were doing during the eclipse?
Okay, so initially we want to broadcast the event, I think, the solar eclipse, and trying to stream it over YouTube or something, so everyone can see the totality, especially for people with which like in Java they cannot see totalities. So we're trying to broadcast everything, but we have some difficulty because the eastern part of Indonesia, there's some problem with internet connectivity and everything. So yeah, but we're trying to our best to be ready if suddenly there's a good connectivity there. So but in case we don't have the internet connectivity, we still want to provide something to see for the people over there, because if they have to see on the telescope, because we're afraid that there's a lot of people queuing on the telescope, so we're trying to put it on the screen so everyone can see without having to go to telescope, or they don't have to see with their glasses and everything. So yeah, we're trying our best to use everything we can build to provide the best experience, I think.
And you guys really had your hands full leading up to the eclipse. For better or worse, I've landed myself on both the American Astronomical Society and the NASA 2017 Eclipse Task Force, and I think you had half of the committee in Indonesia trying to learn from what you guys were doing. And Avivah, I know, was busy trying to help them find sites all over Indonesia and Malaysia for some of the projects like Citizen Kate that wanted to practice how to do citizen science projects. For those of you who don't know, we don't actually have a good way to observe the sun's corona. The spacecraft we use just don't observe it in the levels that are far from the surface but not extremely far from the surface. So there's this donut of the sun's corona that we just don't get to study except during solar eclipses. And so since during the solar eclipse they might have the eclipse for 3 minutes in one part of the path, well, they'll have it for a completely different 3 minutes in a different part of the path. And so over the course of the sun's shadow moving across the Earth, you might get as much as 90 minutes of eclipse totality spread out across all of these different locations. And there were folks down there practicing and taking data and learning and hopefully accomplishing science, but their primary goal this time was to learn and get science if they could. while they were down there. What was it like to try and schedule all of your native activities and get invaded by all of these people from all over the world who were coming to your area to learn and study all at the same time? Avivah, I know you had to do a lot of work helping people. If you can hear me, what was it like helping all of the Americans find locations to set up their telescopes?
Oh, okay. That's the question. It's fun. It's fun, but it's something. Yeah, it's quite fun. I mean, but connecting all these people with local people, it's not that. It's a little bit. I mean, I have some problem to get the local people to connect with all those astronomers, because they want something, not just because all the astronomers are in Bandung. So most of us, we don't really know the situation in each city. So I have to look for new local people. I mean, I have to look for somebody not astronomer here to connect with all these observers, so they can help all these observers to go to their area, and also looking for hotels and something like that. But to connect them with the astronomer is much more easier, because we have all the astronomers here in Indonesia that traveling to all over the place for totality. So basically from west to east, we have all astronomers in each city, so it's easy to connect the observer with the astronomer. And we have the national committee here that working from last year to prepare everything. For us in Langit Selatan, we also have our website. We built it specially for the total eclipse, so people can see not just the eclipse information, but also how to get to all these places, because we put all this destination and how to get there, and also the accommodation and everything in our website, so it can help them too. But then they want me to connect them with local people, so I have to look for local people here, especially from the university, which is quite hard, and it's a challenge actually. But then everything going well. We have so many tourists, we have so many observers, we have so many astronomers here. They also help us here to do the outreach, just like the IAU OAO. They had one session with the space agency here to do the outreach in Ternate. It's like a pilot project for them as well.
Yeah, there's a great photo of everyone sitting around working on building things, where I can recognize.
We built the solar eclipse. The glasses. And Pamela, you sent me these glasses as well. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I recognize those.
This one arrived just in time, and then it's before I traveled. So we didn't just bring this to Mawa, but also sent this to several places in several islands, and basically it's all over in Indonesia as well. So thank you, CosmoQuest.
That's awesome. We're always glad to help, and we are looking to bring you over here to help us with our plans. And I just want to let all of our listeners out there know that we are in the earliest days of trying to figure out something to do for the 2017 eclipse here in Southern Illinois. We're located, my backyard is at 99.6% totality, which is awesome, but we will be traveling the 30 minutes south to go to totality, or wherever the weather is best. There is a link for a survey that we're asking people to fill out that's in the chat for this Hangout if you're watching live, and is in the CosmoQuest X Twitter feed if you're watching this in the archives. And we're just trying to find out, what are people interested in? And one of the things that is awesome both about the eclipse that you guys just experienced and the one that we're having here is, as it cuts across such a large nation, and Indonesia in miles from east to west is huge, there's all these different cultures. Here in America, it's going from Oregon, the Pacific Northwest, where we have temperate rainforests. It's going across the Rocky Mountains, through the deserts, through the Great Plains, where we're located. You have grunge and rock and roll music coming out of the Pacific Northeast. You have blues music coming out of St. Louis. It's then moving across into West Virginia and out through the Carolinas, just missing Nashville. So you can pretty much pick what kind of music you want to listen to and find a place to go view the eclipse with that kind of music. We're hoping to get anyone who comes to St. Louis to see some of our culture. Did you get to share some of your culture beyond those amazing solar eclipse glasses with the tourists you had joining you?
Yes, basically from west to east, I mean, along with the path of totality, each city, they hold festivals. So it's not only the observation, but they also have a cultural festival and astrophotography contest or something like that, and culinary festival as well. So you can basically, people can see the dance and I think the music, and also they can taste our food.
That sounds awesome.
It's different food in each island, so it's something unique for them.
I can't promise you dancing in St. Louis. I know this person is not going to be dancing, but we definitely have some special food that we will be inflicting on tourists. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to Avivah. She said about the cultural attractions. I think the Department of Tourism got on board quite early with Avivah about a year ago, and they surveyed and they put together a really good effort to keep people entertained during the between C1 and C2, which I think is a really good thing. And they put together the cultural dances, the culinary festivals, the astrophotography things. So I think working together with those government bodies was something that was interesting and kind of new for Indonesia, because during the previous eclipses, at least to my recollection, we never had this kind of interbody cooperation. So I think that's something that I think we can take away from this year's eclipse as well. Or yes.
That sounds really awesome. Now, you can plan the cultural events ahead of time. Most people know how to cook food and dance that are coming in to do those things. But the thing that's really hard to practice ahead of time is, how do you take a photo of a solar eclipse? Because you don't have a solar eclipse the previous day to practice. How did you train people to be prepared to handle this, for many people, once in a lifetime experience? Fikry, do you want to take that? Fikry, I'm sorry, I reversed the syllables. Fikry, do you want to take that?
Well, maybe Wicak can have it.
I think, yeah, we we didn't exactly do a lot of training for people for the photography part. A lot of that, I think, came from the experience of the annular eclipse in, when was that, 2009 or 2012?
2009.
2009. There was the annular eclipse previously there, where I think people learned about photographing the sun. And I think if I think a great many photographers were professional photographers were contacted during this time to give talks on how to photograph during totality. I think on my Twitter feed I saw several professional photographers giving talks in various places around Indonesia on how best to take pictures. And other than that, I think Dr. Espenak's site, excuse me, also had a lot of information on what to do, the exposure to take, and all that. I think that all that information that's available on the web helped a lot for people to prepare.
And we're going to be working on putting together links to the best places that folks can go and look to learn about these things. And I'm sure that we're going to do the best practice that we can ahead of time. I know I, for one, plan to be projecting the sun and taking photos of the projection, because that's easy, and I'm lazy, and I invite all of you to come and be lazy with me. So we've been going. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Can I add something about the astrophotography? Just to add that a week before the eclipse, our website, we have a series of the astrophotography, how to take a picture of the solar eclipse. So it also helps people, because I can see it from the sharing. I mean, shares in Facebook and also in Twitter and Google Plus. It's quite high, and it helps people. Aside than that, with the people, I think from all the pictures I saw during the totality, people try to get to take image with their cell phones. I mean, the smartphone. So it also helps if we can, if we can have the article or something to show them how to do the astrophotography with smartphone. For us, we have the one with the regular camera. It's 5 series, I guess. 5 series of article for the astrophotography, especially for this eclipse. And it helps people a lot.
And we will be linking to all of this. Avivah and I have been talking for the past year about how we're going to learn from what she did and work on bringing what she's done over in Indonesia over to CosmoQuest. She's been with us since the beginning as the unsung hero behind 365 Days of Astronomy, and we're going to work on bringing her out front for the eclipse so that we can learn. So we've been going for a little over half an hour. We normally try and keep this to about half an hour. As we get ready to sign off, what final thoughts, what things do you want people to think about as they look to prepare for whatever the next eclipse is, wherever they live? I'm going to go to you first, Wicak.
Sorry about that. I wasn't prepared.
That's all right.
I think the best. I think what I can summarize my thoughts are: eclipses are fun. Shouldn't be feared. It's a great time to learn.
Fikry?
Okay, so I was not prepared about this. But some question I get from during the eclipse is when can we be safe to remove the glasses when they see the eclipse, because they're really afraid to look directly to the sun because there's a lot of information about the harmful of the sun and everything. So I think if we can educate people more, and I think yeah, they can have a better experience when watching the eclipse.
And Avivah, I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay. I'm not prepared for this as well. Okay. For me, the information we need to, for us, I mean, for astronomer, we need to provide as much information as we can share to the people, and then for the public, just enjoy the moment. Really, it's really magical for me. And okay, this is something that we realize it happens in Indonesia for the first time in our life, that we ran out of astronomer. There is no astronomer for television, so I think maybe it won't happen in America, but for us it's something it's shocking because all the astronomers are traveling and there is no one to help the media with the live streaming or anything. So just be prepared and enjoy the moment.
And then leave someone at home. So leave one person, one astronomer at home to deal with the media. So Georgia, I think you've planned who's coming in as our next guest.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I think you know who our next guest is.
I should. Michael Simmons. Hold on. We are having a show next week. I can tell you that. Michael Simmons.
So
on the Global Astronomy Month.
So Mike is the director of Astronomers Without Borders, and April is Global Astronomy Month. And you know, if you need a reason to go out and look up, let April be your reason. So everyone, come back next week, and thank you for getting up at 4 in the morning to join us for Learning Space. Avivah, Wicak, Fikry. I've destroyed all three of your names, but I'm so grateful you're here. And thank you for sharing the eclipse. And audience, thank you for joining us once again. This is a Patreon-sponsored production. We're here because of you. If you want to learn more, go to patreon.com/learningspace. Thank you, everyone, and have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you may be, anywhere in the world. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Pamela.
It was great to meet all of you. Thank you.